So if you're wanting to memorize the Bible, John 11:35 is a great place to start. Jesus wept. But the question is, why did Jesus weep, and what can we learn from it? That and more coming up in today's episode. Today's episode is brought to you by Logos. Learn more about the world's best Bible study software at logos.com/themove.
Welcome back to The Move, where we are vibing with the book 10 minutes at a time.
The next 10 minutes, we're looking at John chapter 11, verses 17 all the way to 44.
Hold on for a second.
So with that said, we're going to be putting 10 minutes up on the clock, starting in 3, 2, 1. Oh, come on, get to the
whoa,
wait.
3, 2, 1. There it is. Go.
There it is. All right. I'm the resurrection and life.
Yeah, this is okay. Yeah. So when Jesus came, he found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb 4 days, and the Jews had come to console. You got to set this, the stage that Mary and Martha are inconsolable, I'm sure. Jews show up, and they're there to console them, and then they hear that Jesus is on his way, and Martha gets up, but Mary stays behind. Yeah. You don't know why, but she stays behind. Martha gets up, and Martha, Lord, if you had been here, things could have gone different.
You know what I love about that statement? There's a sermon that I remember listening to when I was younger, and the question was, is that a statement of doubt or faith?
Ooh. You
see where that's going?
Yeah. Because is it a statement of doubt or faith? Well, it's absolutely a statement of faith. You know what I would say it is? It's a statement that's without complete knowledge, right? So with the knowledge that she does have, it's a statement of faith.
Yeah.
Right?
And so to answer, yes, it is a statement of faith. Like, Jesus, if you were here, you could have changed things.
You could have done
That's how powerful and amazing you are.
Yeah.
But there she is standing face to face with the one who has the keys
to
life and death.
Yeah.
And she doesn't quite
doesn't
know per se. And it's evidence in the way that she continues on with this story. But even now I know that whatever you ask from God, God will give you. So Jesus says, oh, great, I'm going to honor your faith.
Yeah.
Your brother will rise again. But then she betrays herself.
Yeah. I know that he will rise again in the resurrection on the last day.
So she's standing face to face with Jesus and misses what Jesus is hinting towards.
Isn't that interesting that then in that sort of right there in that area, she's participating in a similar stance as the Pharisees, where they already had a theology that made sense of things, right? And Jesus is trying to explode that thing for their sake.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think this is really one of the beautiful pieces about Jesus, is that Jesus is able to see the thing under the thing. Like, he recognizes where she's at and the limitations, but he sees the trueness of who she actually is, who she really and truly is, a person of faith and a person who believes in him.
Yeah. And then I am the resurrection and the life. And that line right there is one that I've spent some time considering. And I mean that because I know that Jesus has the power to raise the dead, right? That he will resurrect people, but that he says, I am the resurrection and the life.
Okay.
Right?
So what's the difference there? What's the difference between I have the power to do resurrection versus I am the resurrection?
Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, there was this relationship where, okay, if I believe in Jesus, then Jesus will give me what he has. Right? Where this sort of perverted sense of, if I come into agreement that Jesus is all of these things, and I don't
have to die.
Yeah, I don't have to, because he's going to give me. And the thing is, he's giving it to me precisely because now I believe him. Oh, you believe I'm the Son of God? You believe I'm this, I'm that? Almost like a checklist.
The difference is, he's not giving me something that he has. The difference is now that by putting faith in him, he's giving me himself.
Exactly. Yeah, that he is the resurrection and the life, and he gives himself for me. It's so much more personal and intimate. It's not me agreeing with a God, and then because I've come under compliance with said God, he gives me something, as much as it is me receiving and believing that God gives himself to me, right? It's a totally different picture of God. And that's why that I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, though he die, yet shall he live. And everyone who lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this? Right? And I hear in that is, are you willing to receive this, that this is who and what I am?
And I love this even at this, because you see what Jesus cares most about. You see what Martha cares most about.
Yeah.
She cares about the problem that's in front of her.
Yeah.
Jesus sidesteps momentarily the
Yeah.
problem altogether.
Yeah.
He says, hold on. Yeah, I can raise him from the dead. But do you believe? Like Jesus cuts all that smoke screen away, and he gets right to the heart of the thing. What about you?
Yeah.
Who do you say I am?
Yeah. And then quick shift. When she had said this, she went out, called her sister Mary, saying in private, the teacher's here and he's calling you. I love the story. And when she heard it, she got up quick. I was like, oh, the teacher's here. Oh, she runs off. And as she's running off, then the Jews, thinking that she's going to the tomb, right? They run after her. So you see the different characters on the move.
Kind of like chasing one after the other.
Yeah. And Mary comes, she shows up, and Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Testament of faith. What is it? Right? Statement of faith
or and doubt at the same time. But it's Jesus honoring a weaker or a lesser version of faith, but seeing the truthiness of that heart.
And then this line. I think this is probably one of the first memory verses I had. John 11:35.
The cheat sheet right here.
Well, it leads up to John 11:35. That it's when Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who had come with her also weeping, he was deeply moved in his spirit and greatly troubled. And he said, where have you laid him? They said to him, come, Lord, and see. Jesus wept. Did he not just say that he was going to resurrect Lazarus? Mm-hmm. Why is he crying? People will be like, oh, because he loved his friends. Yeah, loved his friends so much. Nah.
I think the reason why Jesus wept, and there are only a few times where you see Jesus moved in this manner, and it's always in reference to the degree of faith someone has. Jesus marvels at someone's faith, or he marvels at their unbelief.
Yep.
And what I think Jesus is really weeping here isn't so much that his friend Lazarus is dead, because why would he? He's about to resurrect him in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think it's verse 37. Could not he who opened the eyes of the blind also have kept this man from dying? They don't see who he is.
There he is, the resurrection and the life standing in front of them, the solution to all their problems.
And they don't see him for who he is.
Still don't see him.
Right? And, I mean, this is why Jesus was a man of sorrows. I think one of the things I tell my friends now, I tell people, even as I'm teaching now in gospel, I'll say, one of the things that gospel will do for you is it will, one, give you clarity in this life, but two, it will make you misunderstood. Because the things of this world, when you set your mind on the things of heaven and you have intimacy with God and God is speaking to you, all of a sudden your desires, the way you think, the way you actually interpret life changes, and it's unnatural. Like, it isn't of this earth. And so you fall under suspicion to people who used to know you in a different way, and when they don't get you, it almost hurts because they don't know the goodness of God. They don't know what it is to be free in this new way of living. And as you interact with people, there's this tinge of pain as you hurt for them in light of this good thing that you have found. So can you imagine Jesus actually being heartbroken precisely because here he is, the light of the world, and they just don't receive him? I mean, he was truly a man of sorrows, right? Truly a man of sorrows because he carried this within him. And then again, the misunderstanding of the crowd. You saw it with Thomas. You see it with the Pharisees. You see it here in verse 36. So the Jews said, see how he loved him? Then of course, 37. But some of them said, could not he who opened the eyes of the blind also have kept this man from dying? And this is a consistent theme throughout these last couple of chapters, is that every time Jesus shows up,
he's misunderstood.
And always that misunderstanding leads to division. Because some people are like, well, he's like this. Some people are like that. And he's just completely misunderstood. And we'll not get into the next part, because the next part deserves its own 10. But consider that. Consider one, the Lord's heart for us, in that he's not only giving you resurrection, but he's giving you himself. And two, how deeply moved he is by a desire to be in intimate relationship with us so that you might have an understanding of who he is and that he longs for that. Like God actually longs to be in intimacy with us, and it pains him to be misunderstood by us because of his great love for us.
And I would say consider the goodness of God, even while we misunderstand, and even while we maybe use him for his advantages, God's able to see the heart beneath the action that's playing to the surface.
He doesn't judge us or see us through our misunderstanding of him, right?
He sees your true heart. He sees that you have a heart towards him, for him. Your heart longs for him, and he honors that, and he shows up in a very meaningful sense, even when it hurts.
Yeah, awesome. Ooh, there it was. We'll see you in the next 10.
Peace. Hey movers, I recently got to travel to the Logos headquarters and ended up recording several tutorials on how you and I can get more from our Bible study using Logos. To see the entire playlist of videos, visit logos.com/themove and get 10% off any Logos 8 product you want. logos.com/themove.